Okay, just going back to EOS real quick. And anybody that's listening, if you don't know what EOS is, read the book Traction. It'll tell you everything you need to know about EOS. It's an operating system for businesses. My question to you is, do you teach every business EOS, or do you hire an implementer with every business, or do you just make the CEO read the book and hope they understand what it means?
I let them choose how they're going to deal with it. So
really?
Yeah. So there's a super high level, like for me, like I want to empower the CEO to take ownership of it. So I am very limited in what I tell him or her they're going to have to do.
Yeah.
So if they want to hire an implementer, they can do that. If they want to self-implement, they can do that. If they want to delegate it to an employee in the company, they can do that. Like I'll coach them and I'll say, I think you should do it this way or do it that way. But other than that, I'm not going to force it on them one way or another.
And just, I think I know the answer, because this is a lot of things. There's that imaginary line of, when are you doing too much? When are you now becoming the CEO yourself? Right. What happens if, in this example, they choose to self-implement and it's just been a poor job, which you see often for first-time implementers of EOS?
Yeah. Well, that's where I would give them feedback on the work product and just say, hey, like this isn't very good, or you're breaking this rule here. Though sometimes they get pretty good and they tell me I'm misunderstanding the rule, which happens. It's pretty funny. Like, oh, okay, well, thank you. We'll pull out the book and be like, page 82. But yeah, that would be feedback for them, but it would be in the context of all the other work product they're preparing. And then, I'm spinning up and I do an annual review process for all of them. So where some of that would get sussed out in terms of, okay, well, is that going well or not? What was the core problem maybe there that caused them to make a decision and predict it went the wrong way? Yeah. And so, yeah, that's just be part of all their work product.
You're the business coach to them, and often the chairman could be considered maybe a business coach, but you just said you have a business coach.
Yeah. Well, and most of the CEOs that I work with are also in peer groups. So a lot of them are in the other peer group run by my same business coach.
Oh, really?
Yeah. They're in another business group. There's like 4 of them in there.
So what do you feel like you still have to learn?
What do I feel like I still have to learn?
Yeah.
It's really interesting. I mean, I feel like at this point there's 2 categories of things that are learnable. One is there's all this kind of temporal stuff, like tactical stuff that's changing all the time. I'm curious about that stuff. Like, okay, what's working? And that's pretty obvious stuff. But I think at this point, like I've read enough business books and been around the block enough that really, to use the Donald Rumsfeld idea, like there's the unknown unknowns. That's the stuff I keep learning. And that's why I like Twitter so much. Like I'm just stumbling around. And like, Johnny and I were talking in the pre-show. He like told me about something I hadn't known before. And I took a note. I was like, okay, I'm definitely doing that.
Yeah.
So like those unknown things are just by like kind of stumbling around and trying stuff, like it accelerates my learning.